So I'm in New Zealand, I can't go anywhere else, and I want to go through hiking. What's my excuse? What's the deal? Why am I not just going out to go hike Te Araroa? If you're new around here, Te Araroa is New Zealand's trail. It's a through hike that runs from Te Rerenga Wairua to Murihiku, or Cape Reinga to Bluff. There's no Cheryl Strayed book, but there is one by its founding father, Jeff Chappell. Just shy of 10 years old, this 3,000 kilometre trail takes about 4 months to complete and goes through my own bloody backyard. Not literally, but you know. The other thing about Te Araroa is that it's not technically a through hike. There are sections where you kayak, parts where taking the ferry is necessary. It's also got a lot of road walking, 14% to be exact. And I don't know about you, but I don't really like the sound of that. Now, part of me knows I should just do it. The other part of me just can't justify it. Why don't I just go on a van trip and pick and choose all the beautiful hikes within New Zealand? Why in the time of COVID would I be so financially irresponsible? Why is there so much bloody road to walk? Look, I know I need to come to a decision on this. I have been losing my mind. So I've decided to go seek counsel and go for a hike. The mountains were calling. I'm just bullshitting you. This wasn't just any old hike. We were heading for the Tongariro Northern Circuit, which I actually had done this past summer. But this time it was snowy. And this time I had my two mates, James and Micah. Now, Tongariro National Park was the first for Aotearoa, and the fourth to be established in the whole world back in 1894. Most people have heard of Ngātahoe purely for its feature in those indie films by Old Mate Pete. But to the Ngāti Tuwharetoa, who are known as the true people of the homeland, the region's three mountain peaks, Tongariro, Ngātahoe and Ruapehu, signify a little more than destroying the One Ring. They symbolise a spiritual connection between the community and environment. This track is also part of Te Araroa. Oh my god! So I've known these two guys my whole life. I've been mistaken for James's sister a lot. And Micah, well, an interesting thing about Micah is that he knows a thing or two about Te Araroa.
So just your classic pack of shin ramen, dried shiitake mushrooms for more protein, wakame seaweed, dried, also super light, powdered eggs. It's got to have egg in your ramen, and dried mixed veggies. How's that?
Let's review James.
Beautiful.
Beauty.
Really adds to it.
I wanted to ask Micah a couple of questions about his 2016 experience. But first, we had to survive the crossing. I've written 4 questions, they're very simple.
Well,
Question number 1 is just...
well, you're talking super official.
Oh, really? Okay, well.
That's fine.
Micah, should I hike Te Araroa?
Yes. I think yes you should. It's an experience that you want. You're obviously thinking about it. And kind of like how when I hiked it, I felt like it was something that I just had to do. And yeah, you go back and forth on it, shouldn't I, but it's always going to be there. And it's always going to be there until you do it.
But what about the roads? What about the roads?
Well, yeah, as I've told you, I skipped a lot of roads, and there's no real way to hike the TA because it's such a new trail. It's your own journey. You don't have to walk the road sections. Like I started off with, because I wanted to experience my country, because you experience all the people that you meet along the way. I'm just not there just to walk. I was there to see the South Island. I'd never been to the South Island before. You can start off thinking, yeah, you're going to walk the roads, but if you change your mind partway through it, you're not going to regret it. Like, it's its own thing. Like, no one's telling, there's no way.
And it was this moment here where I realized I let a thru hiker talk about their thru hike.
Little sheep station hut with like corrugated iron roof.
Final piece of advice.
Don't chase an experience like that you're trying to have. Like the experience is going to be what it is. Like, yeah, it's different to the PCT, so you're not going to have, it's different, yeah, it's just totally different, and you don't know what's going to happen along the way. Like when you went into the PCT, you didn't really know what was going to happen, so yeah, just don't expect it to be like that. Basically, it's going to be a totally new experience.
Thank you, Micah.
No worries.
Yarns, mate.
As you can tell, I love
Yarns.
talking about the TA, you know. This is the bougiest hut I've ever seen. Yeah, there's nothing like this on the TA, tell you that.
How are we feeling?
Knackered, but happy.
Relieved, actually.
Now Micah talked my bloody ear off and gave me some good insight. But one thing lingered for me. New Zealand's borders won't be opening for a little while, so numbers this year will be significantly lower. It also means new international friends will be pretty few and far between. A big appeal of the trail is community, and without one,
who am I gambling? You are our king, sire.
So I continued my search for an answer, and through it I stumbled upon a podcast from Radio New Zealand. Old Mate Gambling, also known as Bruce Hopkins, walked the trail back in 2018. And because New Zealand is that small, I went around for a cup of tea to ask all things TA. I just have to know, was Orlando Bloom more beautiful in person?
It was precious. Great to get to know you. Love and respect always, Andy. He was cool, and this is Sean Astin.
Okay, so there was a bit of nerding out before we got to TA stuff.
Photography, Lena Osborne. Who put Peter Jackson and Andrew Lesnie on there? Who did that?
Okay, so Bruce, you were walked to Aotearoa back in 2018, well,
Yeah.
2017, 2018. Can you tell me, was it everything you'd hoped for?
Way beyond. And I guess in a sense because I had no idea what I was hoping for. I was scared shitless, man. I hadn't been a tramper. I did a 2-day tramp with the Auckland Tramping Club about a month before I set off, because I thought I have to go and at least have a night in the bush and put my tent up in the bush. I'd done walks up in the Waitakere ranges up here out of Auckland and things, but not an overnight and not with trampers. And it was cool, actually. It was really cool. Got the most insightful piece of advice from a woman who had done Te Araroa. She did each island separately, I think, over 2 years. And she said, tramp your tramp. Don't tramp anyone else's tramp. Tramp your tramp. I'm at a bit of a low. I think this knee is just taking a lot of energy out of me. Kia ora. Hiko nui.
What would you say to me, or anyone who was like kind of on the cusp of making the decision on whether or not they were going to hike Te Araroa? What would you say to them?
There's a classic old saying, in terms of motivational thing, in a sense of if not now, when?
When you're a kid, before all the noise sways your decisions and the way you think about yourself, there's this innate belief that this world is full of possibilities. When you're faced with decisions that equally excite and terrify you, that same voice will sometimes find its way out. Because I just want to focus on filming, being in nature and sharing that, because if there's one thing you've learned from this year of 2020, it's that, you know, the timing won't always be right. The opportunities won't always be there, and you know what you feel called to do. You want to go experience this trail and shed light on it. And like Bruce said, if not now, then when?
Yeah, you could get a virus, the whole world can shut down, you can die tomorrow. And do you want to like die in an office, like trying to make money, or do you want to be experiencing life and what's out there and people? Right?
Yo, this is Gamling, commander of the armies of Rohan, according to the movies, not the books. Samwise, Frodo, Merry, Pippin, Gandalf, Aragorn, Eowyn, Éomer, Boromir. You need to get your asses out here, man.
But what about the roads?